YouTube haters, friends and foes of the channel, welcome back. Hopefully you guys are having a wonderful day. A lot of frost delays last week, sorry, no video, but we are back out here at the beautiful country club. So let's kick things off. Got a lot of things to talk about. We'll kick things off with Brian Gray. A lot of you guys are back new in the hobby. You think there's a lot of drama. You think there's a lot of stuff going on in the hobby. Well, you guys haven't been around long enough, okay? There's always stuff going on in this hobby. There's always some scams, scandals, and shadiness that are happening. And so, you know, a lot of you guys might have just first learned about how Brian Gray employs somebody named Joe Clemens that hits black labels like Tiger Woods hits drives right down the middle of the fairway. And, you know, that's just the first of this story, okay? We'll bring you another video here in another week or two talking about promo cards that were meant for, you know, attendees of the National, were meant for people that, you know, basically were attending the National, were meant for collectors. Well, they ended up in the hands of, you know who, employees of Leaf. Where did those cards go? They went right over to BGS and they got slabbed, and those guys made a bunch of money. Maybe it's a mid-year bonus. Maybe this is how Brian Gray treats his employees. He puts out promo cards meant for the card community, and they just simply end up in the hands of employees. So we'll bring you that story here in a little bit, and we'll bring you a lot more about Brian Gray, okay? Because here's the facts. A lot of you guys, you know, we see the little noise in the chat around the hobby saying, hey, we're just all about the clickbait and all about the negativity and stuff like that in this hobby. Here's the deal. You go to sportscardradio.com and you search for Leaf checklist or Leaf products on our site. You'll find over 300 articles about Leaf products on sportscardradio.com. Again, most of you guys are brand new in the hobby. Sportscardradio.com has been around for 14 years now and has several thousand articles. I would guess 90 to 95 of them, 95% of them are all positive. All give you information that you might need about a set, might give you information about all different kinds of things within this hobby. And so for Leaf trading cards, we've put up hundreds of articles about Leaf trading card products with no negativity on there. Just here's what's in the set, here's what's cool, here's where you can buy them, here's the valuable cards, here's the rookie cards, here's the different insert sets. You decide if you want to buy it. If you're in a break, it helps you decide how much you should maybe pay for the break. A lot of you guys don't realize this. A lot of you guys just see what's put up here on YouTube. Same thing here with YouTube. We have 400 or 500 videos, maybe 30 are quote negative and about the drama, but that's what you guys tend to pay attention to. So with Brian Gray, he's never said thank you for us, never sent us a product, never done anything for us. And so imagine doing something like putting out information on a guy's products. Brian Gray owns Leaf. We put out information for free, unsolicited, about his products, and all he ever does is badmouth us, say he's going to sue us. He's DM'd my brother the value of my parents' house for some reason, which they don't live in anymore. He's done a lot of things to us and badmouth us across a large swath of platforms. And look, have we criticized him when he deserves to be criticized? Absolutely. But have we put up a ton of positive information? In fact, go to leaf.com or leaftradingcards.com, and I guarantee you sportscardradio.com has more articles about Leaf products than his own site has about his own company. And so a lot of you guys are out there saying, hey, we're all about the negativity, we're all about the clickbait. No, guys, we just don't share the positive stuff. The positive stuff just naturally gets out there. We don't need to share it. So imagine doing something like that for somebody for many years. We're talking about over a decade. We've put up information not only about Leaf. He owns Sports Kings, and I think they own In the Game. You include that, we're probably at 400 or 500 articles on our website about these sets, all in a positive light, all in, hey, here's what's in the set. And this guy, all he does is badmouth us, calls us names, criticizes us, threatens us lawsuits. I mean, this guy's threatened to sue us 4, 5, 6, 7 different times. I kind of hope that he does at some point. We were called to testify against him in an upper deck lawsuit, and he motioned to block that testimony because he knows what we have on him, and we'll continue to share it here on the channel. So for those of you out there that are saying, hey, we're all about the negativity, all about the clickbait, guys, you've just gotten back into this hobby. You don't realize that sports card radio has been around way longer than most of you guys have even thought about collecting cards, let alone actually collected cards. We're not all about the negativity over here. In fact, the 95% of what we put out is actually positive. But when you deserve to get called out, like in the black label scam, in the promo scams that Brian Gray has done, the Damian Lillard thing we'll bring to you here shortly, he deserves to be called out.
Are you ready? Stand by.
Now we'll talk about something else. I want to talk about this guy. His handle on Twitter is CardPurchaser, I believe. And it's a guy I've seen on Twitter, not somebody that I've interacted with or I know personally. But I've seen enough people, tag him. What happens is if you have a card you want to sell, you tag him and he has a certain amount of followers and you might retweet it to that network. I don't have any problem with this. I don't think there's anything wrong with somebody that's doing that. I don't have any jealousy about the amount of followers or the amount of attention that he gets. I think in general, it's a net positive for the hobby when people want to do this. Now, I have seen people criticize this card purchaser guy saying he doesn't necessarily even collect cards. He doesn't understand cards. I think that's somewhat irrelevant. Honestly, I think there's too much in this hobby like, oh, you got to be a collector or you got to do this, you got to do that. Look, the market's down right now. Why would you really want to be, I could see making an argument like buying some of this stuff, but look, there's some times when the market was super hot, I wasn't buying anything. Now it's correcting. I still don't think it's corrected enough for me to step in and buy. So it's okay to sit on the sidelines. I'm not saying that's what this card purchaser guy is doing or not, but I've seen people criticize him for that, not being a quote true collector or not being somebody into that. But he did something that was very inappropriate the other day on Twitter. He attempted to solicit other people for another guy's address. So he said, hey, if you have this guy's address, I will give you money. And who knows what he wanted to do with this guy's address. Now, he was upset with this guy for the fact that I think this guy criticized him based on maybe this guy was questioning his follower count. This guy was criticizing him to a certain degree. And so now he wanted his address. Okay. And it's similar to what Brian Gray. We criticized Brian Gray and he went up and looked at where my parents lived and for some reason thought that was a cool thing to do. There's a line to be drawn in this hobby. Look, I know we throw out a lot of criticism. We maybe we cross the line, maybe we don't. But I think when we're talking about people's addresses and things like that, it crosses the line. So my message for you is not necessarily to not deal with card purchaser, to throw him under the bus. I think what he did is despicable. I personally wouldn't deal with him after this, but just be careful in this hobby. Okay, somebody like card purchaser might seem like this really innocent guy and this guy that's all about the hobby, and then a minute later he's looking to get your address for whatever reason. I don't know what he's trying to do with the guy's address. Okay, there's obviously a lot of different ways you can go when you have somebody's address, and not a lot of them are positive. Just be careful. The other thing that I would recommend, a lot of you guys that are buying and selling off of these people, get a post office box. I have one. It's $10 a month, I think. It's not at the post office. It's one of these little mail centers. And it works in a lot of different ways. If you need a commercial delivery, sometimes I get things delivered in pallets, or sometimes I order boxes off Uline, and I get a little bit of rate if I actually send it to a commercial address rather than residential. So it actually saves me a little bit of money in the long run. In the long run, I probably am a net benefit off that. I would get a post office box. Don't give these people in this card community your address. Don't trust anybody, even if they look innocent and it's just some Twitter account that's retweeting stuff. Look, these guys can turn on you. You don't know if these guys just live in their basement and they're miserable. I've seen so many people that people thought, oh, this is a nice guy. This is a nice guy. This is a guy we can trust. And then all of a sudden they turn on you. So just protect yourself. If you got a family and all that, I would get a post office box. And if you're dealing with cards or anything, I would have them delivered there.
Ready? Stand by.
So last thing we'll address here on the channel is, I believe the Sports Card Investor guy put up a video the other day, talking about how it was a video directed towards us, how we're putting out a lot of negativity and the drama. And to go along with the first segment, I know that Jeff Wilson is just back into the hobby. He hasn't been in this hobby for very long. He probably doesn't realize sportscardradio.com has been around for 14 years. There's thousands of articles on there. Panini America has sent me tens of thousands of dollars in products because they recognize the value. Topps has sent me thousands of dollars worth of products because they recognize the traffic and the value that comes from sportscardradio.com. Upper Deck has sent us thousands of dollars in product. Upper Deck to this day still forwards us information about their products and forwards us checklists and pictures and promos and different things that they're working on. To this day, they personally send this stuff to us because they recognize the value and the traffic that comes from sportscardradio.com. I understand most of you guys haven't got off YouTube or Instagram, and certainly Jeff Wilson probably follows in that sense. Look, I've started every video that I've talked about with Sports Card Investor that I actually think he's a net positive. I think you can learn from this guy. He uploads stuff to YouTube 2 or 3 times a week. I think you can learn from that. But this is a guy that's charged for picks. This is a guy that's charged for his service to actually get cards. That, I think, is a big no-no. I think he turned that off really quick. He got advised that was a bad idea. But I think it's incredibly rich. A lot of these guys that got back in the hobby at the peak of the market or near peak of the market, and we're telling you to buy, it's investments, it's great, it's this, that, and the other, and now cards have tanked, and now all of a sudden they're starting to turn their attention and not accept some of their criticism that certainly would come your way, okay? So I think guys like Jeff don't understand, like, we've buried a ton of people in this industry. And by, passively aggressively posting videos that are about us is not going to help, Mr. Wilson. There's going to be more videos about you, more videos showing you in a negative light, more videos showing your channel in a negative light. And guess what? It's like a car crash. They're probably going to get a lot of views and a lot of attention. And quite frankly, that's okay with me. You guys can post whatever you want about me. You guys can say whatever you want about me. It's actually good for my brand and it's good for my channel. So my message to the Sports Card Investor, my advice to Mojo Sports, my advice to anybody, stay in your lane. If you create G-rated content, stay there, okay? You guys are starting to remind me of the situation that's happening with Joe Rogan. So Joe Rogan's, everybody is saying, hey, we gotta censor Joe Rogan and take him down because we don't like his content. That's not fair, okay? And I'm not comparing myself to Joe Rogan. In fact, Joe Rogan's one show of his is probably bigger than the entire sports card industry. So none of us can compare ourselves to him. But you guys are acting like everybody else, trying to cancel out Joe Rogan, okay? Just because I put out content you don't like, you don't agree with, doesn't mean that you get to go out there and say, hey, don't watch him, don't do this. Okay, I've never told anybody, don't watch Sports Card Investor, don't watch Mojo Break, don't watch Mojo Sports, okay? I've told you the truth about these guys. The fact that they're just recently back into the hobby. Most of them still live with their mom and their dad. In the case of Sports Card Investor, I think he's incredibly new and incredibly green when it comes to this industry. I don't think he has very good advice, but you're more than welcome to tune into this content. And I think the regularity he posts and the entertainment value is there. So if you want to watch, go ahead. And if you don't want to watch this channel and you think we're too negative, that's fine with me, guys, because guess what? I'll be going to the Super Bowl on Sunday and I'll be paying for it with all the positive content that we've posted over at Sports Card Radio. I won't be paying for my $10,000 Super Bowl ticket on Sunday for all the negative stuff. That's like pennies. I don't even see that money. I don't even recognize that money. But we've put up thousands of articles and hundreds of videos here on YouTube, all positive about the hobby, all posting it in a positive light. The fact that none of you guys recognize that or pay any attention to it really shows your naivete and really shows your immaturity as well.